My name is Sophia Kimmig and I'm a researcher at the Leibniz Institute of Freshwater, Ecology and Inland Fisheries in Berlin, Germany. So the aim of our work package is to use gamification as a novel approach to engage with citizens and also with stakeholders involved with invasive alien species. So in many cases, when we talk about management of invasive species or other ecological problems, we have a lot of people involved in the actual process, in making decisions, but also in conducting actual management measures on site. So along the whole chain, you have a lot of people involved. And sometimes it's hard to get all the important information to the people or have them talk to each other and so on. And gamification uses like entertaining and also approaches that make people interact to support getting in touch with all those people along the way. Because if you only passively consume information, then usually people are not as much engaged, and also we all know it's more boring and also sometimes harder to understand complex problems when you just receive a lot of information. And gamification helps to simplify it and make it a little more fun to deal with the topic. In general, gamification is a very nice tool for science communication because science is something that many people who are not from the field would consider something difficult or boring, because often people are very experts on their fields, and for a general public it doesn't seem so obvious like how their work actually concerns them, their lives, their environments. And so gamification can really help to create examples and ideas of what that actually means and how just normal people are affected, for example, by environmental issues such as invasive alien species. In the GuardIAS project, we will focus on 4 different case studies of specific invasive species in 4 different countries. And we will tackle different problems in invasive species management. So we have 2 types of games. On the one hand, we do stakeholder games. Those games have the aim to facilitate like workflows amongst stakeholders. So this could, for example, be something like helping informed stakeholders, like authorities in charge of solving a problem, to communicate to other people who are part of the process but not in charge. And the other type of games are for informing the general public, so they are rather for raising awareness for the problem. That, for example, could be, in the case of the lionfish in Greece, to help people understand that although it's a beautiful fish and many people like it, it comes with a lot of negative effects on the local ecosystems, and people need to know that those negative things happen so that they can make an informed decision on whether they actually want to support those species being around or not. We will use gamification in different ways. One specific use case, for example, will be that we will use a gamification approach to teach stakeholders how to model social-ecological networks. So those networks are like a method to map all the involved people and their interlinks. Like you take a specific species in a region, like the aquatic parrot's feather in Belgium, and then you would look at like who is involved, which people are affected, for example, by the species. And you want to create like a map of everybody involved and how they would need to work together and so on. So this is like a very important step in creating management strategies to actually know like who is affected and who needs to work together and so on. And in this case, the game can help stakeholders to first learn how to build such networks, and then later also teach it to other people so that they don't need us anymore. So the goal would be that they use our approach later on and can work independently with it. So there has been quite some research on the effectiveness of gamification as an educational tool or engagement tool. And one big difference between gamification and other approaches is that it is really interactive. And interaction just makes people memorize things better. It creates ownership, like people become part of the process instead of being passively receiving information. They become part of it, because people are not only often, you know, part of the problem, not on purpose, just by, we all are by moving, you know, from places to another, one place to another, but people are also part of the potential solution. And games can help better than other approaches to engage them in finding out how they could be. So one thing that we really appreciate about this approach is that this is not a linear thing, like we provide information for someone and then they go home, but this is an approach that gives us a feedback loop. So not only can we use our knowledge and the scientific results that GuardIAS produce to inform other people, but also we can learn from other people, because there are actually many people out there who are already like experts in on their regional scale, or have a lot of knowledge that would be beneficial for other people as well. So yeah, this may be one of the most exciting parts about that exchange, that both sides can learn from each other. You know, people who haven't thought about gamification as a scientific approach may just think of like free time and, you know, free time activities when thinking of games. So sometimes it's not like considered a serious approach, but there's actually a lot of evidence that this is a very efficient communication tool, and also like just that we need to learn things and that we have to deal with like complicated measures doesn't mean that we are not allowed to have fun on the way.